quite a I put a lot of value into being physically fit, especially being a little bit in disadvantage because I'm very small and very petite, and I need to control a big horse. So I need to try to stay as fit as possible. So every day, or at least 6 days a week, I train for an hour in the morning.
Okay.
And then I really enjoy to have my coffee. So, yeah, and a little bit of me time for at least like a 20 minutes to go through social media and just relax. Then my horses, I live in Hamburg, but my horses are about 40 minutes from the stable outside Hamburg. So I have quite a long drive and I try to do some calls and stuff like that before I go. And sometimes I start writing a little briefing with my team, what's gonna happen during the day or like during the week, if it's some changes. Um, and then I ride about 6 to 7 horses in the morning, and mostly I almost every day I have clients in the afternoon.
Mental Health is Body Health. Das ist dein Podcast, wenn es um mentale und körperliche Gesundheit geht. Ich spreche mit Personen des öffentlichen Lebens über ihre Erfahrungen, Herausforderungen, Erfolge und Karrieren. Du gewinnst wertvolle Erkenntnisse für dein eigenes Leben und erhältst Inspirationen durch die Einblicke in die Lebensgeschichte meiner Gäste. So, a very warm welcome to a new episode of podcast Mental Health is Body Health. Today I have to say, before everyone is listening to this podcast, it's the first episode in English, so I'm really excited how you're reacting and how the episode is going through. So, very warm welcome, Mathilda Karlsson. Very nice you're here. Thanks for being, that you're having time and you're just being here in my podcast. Wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, you're international equestrian show jumper.
Yes.
You participated in Olympic Games 2020 and so on. We will talk about everything, hopefully.
Yeah.
First of all, you were born in Sri Lanka uh,
Yeah.
in the age of 3 months. You were adopted by a family of in Kristianstad. Is it pronounced right? Kristianstad?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good
Wonderful.
pronouncement. Yeah,
Okay,
Kristianstad. Yeah,
it's in
that's
Sweden. So maybe
yeah, the south of Sweden.
first question I would like to know is when did some kind of show jumping or being able with riding horses started in your life?
Well, in Sweden, a Christian sport is probably, I think, the second biggest sport in the country.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's huge. We have a lot of top riders, and the riding schools are very big in Sweden. So my parents signed me up for riding lessons because of my friends,
Mm-hmm.
because all my friends was there at the riding school. And one after the other, they dropped out, and I just fell in love with the horses. I spent every free minute, second in the stable, not just riding, but grooming, mocking out stables, tacking up horses for other students, just surrounding myself with the horses. Yeah.
Nice. What is the special part of being around horses? Often I see in my surrounding many people are just having horses and also riding and show jumping, whatever. But there is some kind of like, it's not only a passion, it's more a lifestyle, I would say,
It
sometimes.
is. It definitely is. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's a vibe, there's something like an atmosphere. Maybe you can describe it to us being professional.
Well, the horses are also nowadays used a lot as therapeutic animals. It's just something about them, they're huge and they are so respectful and careful, and like they just have, yeah, like you said, a little bit a totally different vibe than many other animals.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not natural for them to be around us all the time and being in the stable and jumping around with us. But I think a top horse or like a show jumping horse, they need to love the sport just as much as we do. I know there's a lot of talks about should horses actually compete in jumping and stuff like that. But I can assure that no horse will ever jump if they didn't wanted to.
Okay,
There's no
crazy.
way you can force a 600 kilo animal to do anything that they don't
Yeah.
really want to.
But how do you feel that the horse is loving it? Sometimes I would say I could
Oh,
just
you
come around.
do.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we select the horses as well. The horses
Yeah.
that doesn't enjoy it will never become good jumpers because especially in the international top sport, they need to fly around the world. It's a lot of crowd, it's a lot of TV cameras and pressure. And you need to know your horse really well. And when you stand there in the entrance of a big competition and the crowd is calling the name of your horse and they're like screaming, you feel it how much they love it, and they just grow, and the hearts start pumping, and they get into to the arena, and they just transform.
Nice. Sounds
Yeah,
really, really nice. Maybe we
yeah.
could we talk about this kind of vibe 1 or 2 hours more, but the thing is actually my question is what I'm really interested in. When was your some kind of first thought about doing it professional? Because there's always a switch between having an idea of, cuddling with horses
Yeah.
in a small way and doing it professional. There's a huge step. When was your first thought about it?
Well, I grew up in very normal circumstances in a very loving family, but they could have never financially supported my sport career as a show jumper, which is obviously a very, very expensive sport. And not even our own horse would have been possible for us. So I kind of looked for other options, and I started grooming. I went to Germany to groom for even at that time the number one in the world, Rolf-Göran Bengtsson, and I think that was where I maybe I learned the work ethic and actually what is very, very important to become a top show jumper. And it's not just about the riding; it's the management of the horses and also the value of a very strong team behind you. Um, Also, again, mental health and mental strength to surround yourself with good people that gives you the confidence and also take the pressure off that they actually do take a lot of the work away from you, that you can just focus on what's really important. What my job is to ride the horses, compete, and be focused. And I know that my horses are in the best care. And also, I mean, my groom is like a second family. He knows me
Yeah.
better than most people because we just spend so much time together in situations where it's a lot of pressure and a lot of frustration when you don't have a good round, and also a lot of joy, of course. So a part of his job is obviously to also keep me in the best possible mood, I would say, so that I can perform as good as possible, to always know how to work around me and my mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really nice. Is there it's maybe it's a children's question, but is there a special routine you're having before races or before
Oh
competitions?
yeah, big time. Yeah, definitely. And it's also a lot of things that I do, I learn from a mental coach as well.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of difficulties. I'm not a very nervous person, so I don't get nerves. I didn't need help with that, but I have difficulties to concentrate.
Hmm.
And I also think that in riding in general, confidence is probably 90%. If you believe you can do it, your horse will feel it and they will do it for you as well. And I have a few routines that just helps me to feel confident, to feel like I have done everything that I should. A stupid little thing that I really feel like I always clean my boots. My groom cleaned
Yeah.
them for me, but I clean them again because that's a little extra thing that I know that I have managed my time before the class so
Hmm.
well that I can go over small things and clean my boots and know that I'm not in stress or in
Yeah. You're
lack
saying
of.
some interesting things because I think I've read or I've saw a video, I don't know. Um, Sometimes when people are riding horses and they feel the horse is nervous, has
Yeah,
too much energy, and you're also nervous, the horses of course feels it. And
yeah,
some people are singing while they're riding.
yeah,
But the horse is knowing, okay, she or he is able to concentrate first of all,
yeah,
being patient with the horse and being relaxed. And this is so
yeah,
crazy actually because when you're not from this kind of sport,
yeah,
you're thinking, why the hell is a person singing
yeah,
while riding? But I've read actually that the breath and also some kind
exactly.
of like the it
Yeah,
relaxes everything.
yeah. Actually, I had a trainer back in the days because I had difficulties. Now I'm definitely more sporty, active, and I have a better condition. But I was always out of breath
Mm-hmm.
because I was holding my breath. I was a little nervous, so I was holding my breath. And he told me to sing.
Yeah.
And like that, yeah, it's like breath work. So like that, I had to breathe because I was singing. I couldn't hold my breath.
Yeah.
And my horse also totally relaxed because of it, because my tension went away.
Yeah, crazy. So next time
Yeah.
maybe we see you in Billboard charts or something like
Oh,
this singing.
I think my poor horse had to hear my voice.
Okay, crazy.
Yeah.
So maybe you can just tell us how is your, I would say, daily routine or daily, I don't know, plan while you're preparing for the big competitions. Maybe you can just take us through a normal day, I would say. Maybe there is no normal day, but
Well,
sometimes
it's
there is.
yeah, it's never really a normal day when you work with horses. But I'm a morning person. I get up really early. Everything that I manage to do in the morning until 12 is a bonus because I'm definitely more
Mhm.
alert and active and motivated in the morning. So I get up really early, like 5:30. Um, I'm I'm a quite a I put a lot of value into being physically fit, especially being a little bit in disadvantage because I'm very small and very petite, and
Mhm.
I need to control a big horse. So I need to try to stay as fit as possible. So every day, or at least 6 days a week, I train for an hour in the morning.
Okay.
And then I really enjoy to have my coffee. So, yeah, and a little bit of me time for at least like a 20 minutes to go through social media and just relax. Then my horses, I live in Hamburg, but my horses are about 40 minutes from the stable outside Hamburg. So I have quite a long drive and I try to do some calls and stuff like that before I go. And sometimes I start writing a little briefing with my team, what's gonna happen during the day or like during the week, if it's some changes. Um, and then I ride about 6 to 7 horses in the morning, and mostly I almost every day I have clients in the afternoon.
Ihr Lieben, heutiger Partner dieser Podcast-Folge ist Equanis. Liebe Pferdefreunde, wir alle kennen auch das Gefühl. Unsere Pferde sind nicht nur Tiere, sie sind die besten Freunde und unsere Partner. Ihr Wohlergehen liegt uns besonders am Herzen und genau dafür steht Equanis. Equanis hat es sich zur Aufgabe gemacht, die Gesundheit deines Pferdes in den Mittelpunkt zu stellen. Bei Equanis glaubt man, dass jedes Pferd individuell ist, mit ganz eigenen Bedürfnissen. Deshalb entwickeln sie ihre Produkte mit einem Ziel, die Gesundheit deines Pferdes effektiv und nachhaltig zu unterstützen. Bei den Ergänzungsfuttermitteln von Equanis setzt man auf Qualität, die man sehen, riechen und spüren kann. Sie verwenden hochwirksame Extrakte statt einfacher Säfte, um die Wirkung der Produkte zu maximieren. Der Fokus von Equanis liegt auf höchster Qualität und bezahlbaren Preisen. Denn Premium-Produkte für Pferde sollten kein Luxus, sondern Standard sein. Und jetzt haben wir auch noch was ganz Besonderes für euch. Als Hörer des Podcasts erhaltet ihr 20% auf eure Bestellung. Bei Equanis im Shop verwendet dazu einfach den Rabattcode Podcast20 auf equanis.de. Viel Spaß dabei. Okay, so clients
As
mean
well.
like you're giving classes?
No, they come to maybe buy some horses.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah,
That's good
they come from
actually.
all over the world to
Okay,
yeah, look at horses and
cool.
yeah.
Wonderful. Maybe we just talk about your career so far. Maybe some of
Mhm.
the audience or people are just interested in this kind of thing. What was your maybe just talk quite spontaneous. What was your
Yeah.
most successful part of the career so far?
I mean, obviously to qualify for the Olympics,
Yeah.
that was the biggest milestone. I think for every athlete, that is the biggest achievement you can have. And uh, that is definitely far up on the list or on the top of the
Hmm.
list. But also the 3 years that I had a possibility to ride in the Global Champions League,
Hmm.
that really put me up to a different level. I had to really step up my game. I was definitely not ready when I first entered, and I realized that, geez, I need to really get some help and management changes and stuff. And to see the progress of these 3 years, I really struggled the first year. Second year was way easier, and actually, I did really well the
Cool.
last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I've read that from the 31st of December in 2019, there was some kind of like a big, you said achievement, but a big milestone because
Yeah.
there was written that you're getting a card or a setup for the Olympic Games in Tokyo.
Yeah.
But there were some kind of difficult circumstances, you can
Yes.
sometimes say, because what was going on there? Maybe what was the procedure? Or what was the situation? Maybe you can just
Mhm.
explain to the people who are not knowing about it.
As a individual rider, the qualifying year for me was 2019, from the 1st of January 2019 till the 31st of December 2019.
Hmm.
And it's only two individuals qualifying from each group. So it's very, very hard.
Hmm.
And you need to be the top two on the ranking in the end of the year. And I managed to do that, which was amazing. I had a top horse, top management. Um, so I qualified. And I mean, the excitement that happened was enormous, and the appreciation that I got from Sri Lanka, obviously, and from all over the world, especially coming from like qualifying for country that never been a part of the Olympic Games in equestrian before. Most of the population probably in Southeast Asia and especially Sri Lanka didn't even know that there was a sport like called equestrian,
Hmm.
that it was an Olympic sport, that people were jumping with horses. They didn't even know about this. So that was amazing, but it didn't last very long. Um, in February, FEI decided to cancel um, three shows that I did, which I collected ranking points,
Hmm.
Olympic ranking points, because of a failure in the schedule.
Okay.
Not something that I did or any of the riders. It was a failure on their side, that they stamped the schedule 6 times, like 2 times, 3 times the FEI and 3 times the French um, Federation. And there was a failure in it. No one saw it. And after we qualified, they saw that there was a timeline that was a little wrong. There was nothing about the competition in say. There was just on the paper, which our as rider we doesn't even see these kind of things.
Hmm.
So they disqualified the competitions that I collected some of my points from, which meant that I lost the spot for the Olympics.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or not I, Sri Lanka lost the spot, and Hong Kong took over the spot for the Olympics, and
Okay.
Taiwan, which was first. And there was a huge disappointment. And I have to say, I felt very discriminated,
Hmm.
because I definitely believed it was a very political move from the FEI.
Hmm.
Everyone that actually read into the case knew that that was not my fault, and that I would, if I went to CAS and to the tribunal, I would win the case. Um, so I decided to do that. I took it up first in the tribunal from the FEI, which is FEI's own tribunal. So I lost that case, and then I took it further to CAS. And in general, it takes 200 days to get
Wow.
a case to CAS, which meant this was February. That I would probably, I think the FBI actually knew, or most people knew, that I would probably win the case,
Hmm.
but I would run out of time because the
Yeah.
Olympics would probably already have happened, and I would get my my Olympic spot back, but after the Olympics, so it wouldn't really make a matter. But I thought, like, if they can do this to me, or to my country, they can do it to everyone.
Hmm.
And it was just justice for everyone. And I took it upon me to take it to CAS. It was obviously a very expensive thing to do with lawyers and all of that. And but the worst thing was, again, that people wasn't really informed what was happening. Like
Mm-hmm.
not even I knew exactly what was going on. Like why would they cancel the show? Like I didn't even really knew the reason. And of course, when a qualification gets taken away, most people in the media, like that reads it in the media, that is not very informed or involved in the sport, would think I must have done something wrong.
Yeah, right.
I
Yeah.
mean, I must have broken some rule or being doped or whatever. And so that was the worst, actually, to not really be able to explain what was happening.
Yeah.
But then Corona happened,
That's right. That
and
was
then,
that would be my next question because there was like the time, it was in March 2020, right? When Corona starts, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. And then Corona happened, and Tokyo decided, or the Olympic Committee decided to postpone the Olympics for another year, which of course gave me the time to get it through the CAS. And in April 2021, I won the case and I got my Olympic spot back.
Wow, this is
Yeah.
crazy. But honestly, what were your thoughts about from the mental side? Was it more like being relaxed, even though it was not relaxed, but just talking to yourself, okay, I'm relaxed. I will win this case. Everything is okay. Or
No,
was it like because you said you're not a nervous person normally?
no, but I mean, it does something to you for sure.
Yeah.
Um, because obviously it was biggest dream of my life to qualify for the Olympics, and even if I have the skills and maybe could try for one more time, but to have the horses and everything, I would probably. I mean, I had such a fantastic horse, so I still have him, but um, yeah. So I felt, yeah, it does something
Yeah.
to you. I felt very somehow also a little bit ashamed. I didn't know because I knew that people didn't really knew what was going on. Um, so yeah, it was
Okay.
frustrating for sure.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing. It's crazy actually because often you're thinking you have so many things to do, just handling and keeping the inner balance.
Yeah,
But then some of those cases are coming, and this is also crazy because often, yeah, it's like also with these table situations in normal sport activities or whatever, you're always focused on the results.
yeah,
And this is some kind of like you don't have the time to focus on your improvement or in your sporty things, more just focusing on the situation, what's going on with the results. And this is
yeah,
so crazy because often I see it when people are just not only in show jumping, but sometimes also in football or wherever. People are just checking the results, and this is the
yeah,
most painful thing. It's not always the situation and the things you're doing counting. Only the things what is standing at the end, and
yeah.
not the process. This
Yeah,
is crazy sometimes.
that's true.
Yeah. Do you think about we've talked about mental health? Do you think it should come more and more into our sports and also business world talking about mental health?
Definitely. I think in general we need to talk more about mental health, not just in sport. I have personal experience in my family with mental health issues. Suffered. My father suffered in silence with very high degree of mental issues,
Mm.
and so for me, it's very personal, and not just the mental health, but also the mental training that I got. I didn't even knew when I started with mental training.
Yeah,
I didn't knew how much that could actually help,
yeah,
and how many skills you can learn, how your brain actually function, how you can somehow manipulate yourself
yeah,
through exercises and um, routines to actually perform better, to feel better,
yeah.
to do better.
Yeah, and maybe just saying to the audience what's important. It's not always the big steps. Often it's the
Exactly.
small
No.
steps
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
maybe I've started I think in January or maybe I would say December last year to January this year. There was like a how do you say it's not like a daily blog or something, but I'm just writing, and it's not
Yeah.
like a how do you say diary something like this, you
Yeah.
know. This is just less than a diary
Yeah.
because I'm just thinking, okay, what I'm thankful for,
Yeah.
what is important, where I can improve, and this is also important, like going the little small steps, but not
Definitely.
always the big steps,
Yeah.
because especially in sports, I see there has to be something that people are obviously more successful than others
Yeah.
because the 3 or 4 steps being much more in advance, and this is sometimes really crazy. Yeah,
Yeah. To just also when it's get tough to just keep going to every little step, every time you get up in the morning, every time you have had a bad class and you keep on going, you keep on competing, the good days will come.
yeah, for
And
sure.
just like kind of believe in that, yeah, to be able to push yourself
Yeah.
also through the bad days and believe that the bad days actually is the days that makes the good ones so great.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, wise words, of course. I have 2 or 3 more questions to
Mhm.
you. Maybe quite direct. What is your vision, your dream in the next few years?
um I mean, of course, my dream is to be able to do yet another Olympics for sure. I know the experience that I gained last time in Tokyo. It definitely will help me so much if I could just do it again. I know that I can perform and do better. Um, but my vision, I mean, I represent a country that is not very known in the horse world
Yeah.
and is very limited in the resources that they have um, to produce riders or having horses or even being a part of this equestrian world. So my vision and my dreams is for sure to change that a little bit, to maybe make the sport more
Hmm.
accessible to people from different areas in the world. Um, and maybe how great would that be if Sri Lanka one day have a team?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Hopefully. Great. I would say vision or dream. That's what you said for sure. Maybe we have to talk, or we will talk about something going on till the last week, or maybe the last month, I would
Yeah.
say. What is really crazy and always maybe some kind of not that easy for me to understand the whole big thing. You were some kind of like banned because of a doping thing. Maybe you said to me it's the first time you're talking about it, so
Mhm.
thank you for doing it. Just say whatever you like for this kind of case, because maybe for the people who are not knowing it, you just passed some controls of the doping thing, and therefore you were banned until the 14th of January this year.
Yeah.
What it is about? Maybe you can just talk to
Yeah.
people. What is this kind of big case?
Well, I got suspended 19 months for a whereabouts failure, which had nothing to do. I got tested. I was very much under the eye of the FEI.
Hmm.
I got tested plenty of times. I was never positive. And what people, again, don't really know, it was never a doping case, um, but it was a whereabout failure. People a lot of riders doesn't even know that this exists, but if you represent the country in major championship you need to be a part of WADA, which is World Anti-Doping Committee, I think.
Yeah.
And then you need to every day you need to register where you are,
Hmm.
the whereabouts, where you're gonna sleep, where you're gonna train, where you're gonna spend your day,
Hmm.
so that they can come and test you anytime.
Yeah. Okay.
And I missed the doping test because I went home from the stable early. I didn't
Hmm.
have my phone on me, or I had it on silence. I missed the three tests, and I have my training times between 10 and 2, I think, during the day. And I went home early. Something happened. I didn't even think about it. I totally forgot it. And you have an hour to get back to the place where you
Okay.
should be,
Mhm.
but I didn't check my phone for an hour, so I totally missed it.
So the thing is, you have to go back to the place where you've been, or do they come to your new place
No,
where you're located
no,
now?
they wouldn't come. No, you need to be
Wow.
where they wouldn't change the direction because it's a whereabout failure if you're
Yeah, yeah.
not at the place where you should be when
Wow.
they come to test you.
The crazy thing, I don't want to say anything about this structure or this whatever, but it's really crazy thinking about that they are really controlling you. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just that you always have to say where you are. I've
yeah,
always heard about these kind of cases that also in Germany, like many people from the Olympic team are like controlled, and sometimes it's so crazy, maybe just for the people outside to understand
yeah.
that maybe they just ring their bell at 6 o'clock in the morning and say, "Hi, we're
Yeah.
here."
They are here. They was here a couple of weeks ago, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Wow,
A week before that, they were here 10:30 in the evening. I was already in bed, so I
wow,
mean it's crazy. Yeah.
wow. But is there a solution? You can just not only you, but the sports world maybe can change it. I don't know if there's a plan, or I
I
don't know.
mean, to be fair, I mean I know that these are the rules.
Yeah,
If you want to compete on the highest level, if you want to represent your country, if you want to be a part of Olympics or World Champion Games or whatever, this you know this.
yeah.
This was all on me. It was a mistake that I highly had to pay for. Um, and these are the rules. It's the same for everyone. It was. I'm not an example like acceptor.
Hmm.
So yeah, I wouldn't want to blame it on anyone else.
Yeah,
I messed it up. I should have taken it way more seriously because I knew that I was tested. I got tested very, very often, and you more often, of course, you got tested, you more
yeah,
chances you have to have a whereabout failure. But just to obviously, people think that I was doped
yeah.
or had something abandoned substance. That was never the case,
Okay,
and so yeah. I
okay.
mean, I thought obviously that this was the worst thing that could ever. I
Yeah.
mean, I was so sad and I was absolutely terrified for what was going to happen. I didn't know how my life or my world would look like if I couldn't compete for 19 months. That's I have
Mm.
been doing this it feels like for my whole adult life.
Yeah.
And I thought I would lose myself, but actually, I had one of the greatest times of my life. I could experience so much other things, and I have to say, I would never have taken 19 months of competing
Mhm.
if it wasn't for this. And in the end of the day, I could do a lot of self reflection, and I feel like I ended up finding myself more than
Cool.
anything else.
Sounds good. One last question, just to
Mhm.
understand the whole thing. Is it also possible for you to train during this ban
Yeah.
thing? Yeah.
Yeah, I was traveling a lot. I did because the first 6 months I have to say felt I was very motivated to keep training and I was
Hmm.
riding every day and I was in the stable. But when you have no goal, when you have been doing this for a sport perspective for so long and you're riding and there's no end to this, like you're training for nothing. And then of course I had to give up my horses for to other riders so that my horses could keep competing, and I was kind of riding for absolutely nothing. So I the 6 first months was horrible. And then I decided I need to change something. I need to do something different. This is not how I should feel or do. So I started working with the International Committee of the Red Cross, and I
Hmm.
traveled with them around the whole world, basically, mostly Africa. And I learned so many other things, and I really learned that there is a life outside riding as well.
Cool. Yeah,
And
sounds good.
yeah,
But
but I
yeah,
could try. Yeah.
actually, when I hear it, sounds crazy, but it sounds good. That you just maybe you just I don't know want to say learned a lesson, but you
Yeah.
just learned something else, as you said,
Yeah.
and maybe it needed some kind of like
It was,
not only this part, but it needed some kind of like a pause to understand what is mentally really coming. This is yeah the best you could do it about it. So why not always understanding? Yeah, not always seeing the bad things, even though
no,
it's not the best thing.
it's not always easy, but yeah, I think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, right.
I hope it never happens again, but
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for sharing. One
yeah.
last question I always ask the people here in my
Mhm.
podcast. What kind of wish do you have when you have a wish, inviting a person, a guest who should come to my podcast?
Um, that's a good question. I mean, if it's mostly about mental health and sport, heard a lot of his speeches and his mental way of thinking. I think he's very inspiring, especially as an athlete with the ups and downs and the hard times and the good times. And um, in the writing world, maybe Peter Fredriksson, which is
Hmm.
one of my idols that I have learned a lot from. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Thanks for giving this kind of hint. So
Yeah.
when one of those person is sitting here next to me in my podcast, you have to listen to this podcast
Oh, I
episode.
will for sure. Yeah.
Wonderful. Cool. Matilda, you did the wonderful podcast episode, the first one in English. So thanks for being here and
Cool.
thanks for answering all my questions about
That's a
everything. We've
pleasure.
talked a lot. Thanks for everything and thanks to you all for being so patient with us here, just listening to this podcast episode. Hopefully, you can just reach all your goals and all your visions and
Thank
dreams
you.
and whatever you're thinking about. And thanks for being here. Thanks all to you, and maybe just listen to the next episode again. So, have a wonderful evening or morning whenever you're listening to this podcast. See you next episode. Thanks. Bye bye.